Hello everyone, hope all is well and welcome back. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you my no foundation routine. I usually go for this routine if I'm feeling a little bit lazy or if I want to look a little bit more natural and give my skin a break and really let it soak in all the skincare products I apply before I apply the makeup products. So before we get into it, I would love for you to subscribe if you aren't already. It would mean so much to me, and let's get to it. So if you're wondering why my ears are like fire truck red right now, it's because I forced these little earrings in the second hole. I haven't put any earrings in my second piercing here for so long, so I pretty much just re-pierced them, but don't they look cute? So I thought this video would be the perfect one to show you my skincare steps that I take before filming my other videos. So here's my little mini skincare routine before I apply makeup. So the first thing I go in with is the Lila Bee A Glow Face Mist. It's just a nice hydrating rich mist, and you can use it to prep the skin, rehydrate the skin, or set the makeup. It's kind of like an all-in-one, and I really love this mist. As you can tell, I'm over halfway done, so I just like to go in with a few spritzes of this and kind of just let that chill out. And it's nice because it smells like herbs and a little bit of lavender, which I obviously love. And then I go in with some of my eye cream. This is the First Aid Beauty Fab Skin Lab Retinol eye cream. This is my favorite eye cream that I've tried so far. So I add 3 little dots right under the eye, and I find that concealer really layers on top of this one nicely. And I always blend out my eye creams with my ring finger. This is the finger that has the least amount of pressure, so it's just naturally more gentle. Next up, for my moisturizer, I've been loving the Tatcha water cream. It's just such a nice moisturizer to wear underneath makeup or anything like that. Your skin just immediately drinks it up, and it's just a nice even one, and it's not too thick and it's not too emollient, so just things don't slip and slide around underneath. Plus the packaging is just the cutest little blue apple, so I just take the little spoon on top, take about that much, and then I kind of rub it in the tips of my fingers and kind of dot that like this, and then I just rub it in. I love this packaging, it's so cute. I love how the little spoon fits right on top of it so perfectly and you don't lose it. It stays in there. Finally, for my SPF, this is my favorite one. This is the Ren Clean Screen Mineral SPF, and this is a mattifying one, which is really nice. I usually don't love mattifying products, but for sunscreen, it's great. Just because I found with a lot of sunscreen, they make me super oily and gross. This is really great because it doesn't have those harsh ingredients that make me break out. So I kind of like to warm this up on the tips of my fingers and kind of just apply it the same way as I did the Tatcha one. Also, don't forget your ears, because people always neglect the ears. Same with the neck. So that's it for my skin prep before my makeup. So now we're gonna get into the makeup products, and the first product I'd like to go in with for my no makeup days is a glowy lotion. So this is the MAC Strobe Cream. I have the shade Gold Light. So I pretty much just use this as a highlighter. So I'll take a little bit and I just place it on the high points of my face. Sometimes I won't even add extra highlighter if I'm not feeling it. Sometimes this is just enough. So basically I just tap it on the high points of my cheeks, and I kind of like to take it on the apples of the cheeks, so when I smile it has a nice radiance to it. I take the rest on my forehead as well as my chin just to kind of balance everything out. Even though it's very subtle, it still helps. Now I'm going to get into spot concealing, and I've been using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh just because it's a little bit more high coverage, so it's good for spot concealing. It also has a really nice finish. It just is a natural finish. It's not too matte, not too glowy, it's just the perfect in between. So I'm just going to take a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm using the shade Light 50. And I take a little pencil brush. This one is from Melt. This is the Melt 517. And I just dip into that concealer and I go on to the spots. Sometimes when I have these ultra red spots, sometimes I like going in with a little bit of a color corrector just to kind of mask that even more. So I take that usually on my finger and I kind of dot it over just to kind of help, and then I'm going to move on to another area. But basically I just take this little pencil brush, just first applying this to the affected areas and where I want to kind of lightly correct. I like to correct the sides of my nose because I have a little bit of redness here. And then I wipe off my brush and then I kind of go over with my finger or the brush, just kind of lightly blending that in. And I don't mind that they kind of show through. I don't want them to be so fully covered, like then you kind of see the edges of that concealer. But if they're just slightly masked, I'm happy. I just don't want them to be as intense, I guess, just kind of lightly masked. And then for my under eye concealer, I'm going to go in with the Glossier Stretch Concealer. I'm using the shade G9. The reason why I'm not going in with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh is just because this is a little bit too high coverage for what I like here, especially if I don't have anything on the rest of my face. It just looks really noticeable. So I'm going to take this little Sephora brush. This is an airbrush concealer brush. Sadly, this is no longer available, but something similar is the Nudestix Buff and Blend, which is nice because it's dual-sided. So I just kind of lightly tap into that concealer and I kind of feather it on the under eye to begin with, kind of focusing the most amount of product on the outer portion just because I have redness there, and then a little bit on the inner portion just to kind of cover up the blueness. And I also take it into this area of the eye as well because I have a little bit of darkness there, and by masking that it just like makes you look a little bit more awake. And then I just go in with a sponge just to sheer that out even more. And then if I just like look at my face overall, I'll take that brush with whatever's left on it and I don't add any more product. I just kind of lightly feather it on the areas where I want a touch more coverage. I don't really set anywhere else with powder except for my under eye, so I take a little bit of the Milk Blur and Set on the tip of my sponge here and I really bend it to fit under my eye, and I slowly apply some powder right under the eye right here just to help it from creasing. And while I let that powder kind of do its thing, I move on to my brows, and I'm first going to take this ColourPop Brow Boss in the shade Soft Black, and I kind of just fill in this area right here where my brows are quite sparse. I just pretty much add some right there, and then I go in with some brow gel. Today I'm going to be using the Glossier Boy Brow in the shade Black. This is just going to deepen them up, make them look a lot more even and defined. Once I finish my brows, I just kind of dust that away. Now to add a little bit of definition, I'm going to go in with my Fenty Beauty In The Sun Bronzer. And I'm using a very soft brush so there's no harsh lines, and this is the Cheek Shaper from Nabla. And I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that and I'm going to slightly define, going in circular motion so there's no harsh lines. This bronzer is the perfect color because it's not too warm and it's not too cool. It's like the perfect in-between contour and bronzer shade for me. And this formula is so nice because it's so soft. It never creates harsh lines as well. It's just very nice and blendable, so it's perfect for these days. I can't believe how red my ear is. It like has a heartbeat and it's super hot. I applied a little bit too much of the bronzer on this side because I was looking at my ear. So I'm just going to take my sponge and kind of just gently pat that away. And then I'm going to take a little bit on the nose. This is just preference. I like to bring it onto the nose for more of a natural look. At this point, this is when I would add highlighter, but today it looks really nice and dewy. But I just wanted to share the products that I usually go for depending on my mood. So I usually use the Glossier Halo Scope in the shade Quartz if I want more of like a pinky shade, or the Marc Jacobs Do You Dewdrops. They're the most natural looking highlighters I have. They don't have any glitter in them. They're just like a very light sheen, and they just add like a really nice dewy look. I'm gonna add a little bit of the Marc Jacobs Dewdrops because I want a little bit more of a golden look today. I just kind of apply a little bit on my hand and kind of blend it out so I get like a little bit of that product on, and I go in with my ring finger again, kind of tap into that. I'll go in with a tiny amount of product and blend it out with a different finger just because I don't want to apply too much by accident. Sometimes with these looks, highlighter is like very obvious, so I just really don't want that to happen. So see, it just kind of amplified that glow a little bit, but it's still quite undetectable. For my blush as well as my lips, I'm going to go in with this Nude Sticks Magnetic Lip Plush Paint in the shade Waikiki Rose. This one has a little bit more of a peachy tint to it, and I really love these because once they're on the lips, they kind of just make it look like your natural lip color. They're a very unique formula, and they're also awesome because they're multi-use products. You can use them on the eyes, lips, and cheeks. And for my cheeks, I like to first apply a tiny bit, and then I will blend it out with my finger to begin with. I find that these have a really great lasting power as well. They just kind of stay all day, which is nice. And I always add some on my nose as well. That's a lot. Just because I want a little bit of a sheen on the lips, I'm going to take a little bit of my Bite Beauty lip mask and just kind of dot over. This is going to be extra nourishing, and I need that right now because of the Canadian weather. And then now for the eyes, I just do something very, very simple. I do like to correct the color of my eyelids just slightly, and for that I'm going to use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer once again in the shade 50, but I'm going to take one dot on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to just blend that out. And what I simply like to do for the eyes, I just take my bronzer once again and a fluffy brush. This is a Melt 818 brush, and I just like to define the crease a little bit just to kind of make my eyes pop out slightly. But I only add it in the crease, and I just really make sure to do like big circular motions so it's kind of spread out. I don't want it to be like a line, like a defined line. I kind of just want some color on there just to kind of match the rest of the face, as well as to just bring them out slightly more. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my highlighter I used, and I'm going to just apply that to the inner corners. And then finally for my lashes, I do like to go in with a very light mascara, and I love the Glossier Lash Slick for this look. But first I always curl my lashes, and I use the Shuuomura eyelash curler. It's just the best one. And then I'll go in with the Glossier Lash Slick mascara, and this one's really great for the top lashes for these kinds of looks. If you go in with one coat of this, it just lengthens them, darkens them, it just kind of tints them in a really beautiful way. For the bottom lashes, I'll do like a light coat on all of them, but then really focus like a little bit more of a thicker layer right on the outer corner, just to really bring out the eyes that way and kind of make them look a little bit more defined in an interesting way. So here is the final look. Everything is very soft and lightly defined. It really helps bring out those natural features that you have. Everything's really nicely corrected, but still my skin is shining through. This is the look I'll wear 90% of the time if I'm not filming or doing Instagram or working or anything like that. This is the look I go to just because it makes me feel good. I feel nice and corrected and cute and glowy. I feel nice and pampered because of all the skincare I put underneath of it. But that is all for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a like. It would help me out so much. I'll make sure to list all the products I used in the description down below as always, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye!